throwing the baby out with the bathwater. What we're trying to do is create a situation where we have the best of both worlds, the traditional, but also preparing children for life in the 21st century. We'd visited a number of schools, as well as colleagues on the senior team having experience overseas and seeing the impact that laptops can have on teaching and learning. We're taking regular snapshots, surveying parents and asking children about their experiences. And the material that we've captured has, I think, really given us an insight into the way in which the programme is going to develop.
This video project has provided me with yet another opportunity to look closely at good practice and what actually makes for good teaching and learning in the classroom. In the past, I've had a number of student research projects where I work closely with a group of students looking at lesson observations. But actually being able to use the video and go into lessons and also ask some other colleagues to video part of their lesson was an entirely new beginning. Interviewing the students and asking them to explain what they were doing was also very informative for me because I could understand how they perceive their own learning and how they're able to talk about that as well. In the end, I was left with quite a bit of footage, lots of different scenes, and I just then had to see how I could put everything together to tell the whole story.
Welcome to the Arnewood School.
When I first found out about the laptops, I was pleased because I've never had a laptop before. I have a computer at home, but I think laptops are better because they're portable.
I don't have a laptop of my own, but there's a place in the Arnewood School called Laplands. And if you don't have a laptop, you can go there to borrow a laptop. And sometimes I wish I had a laptop, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. With Laplands, there you can always borrow.
This is my new laptop. I take it to school every day, and I use it in many lessons.
Starting off with the area of a circle and then halving it. By doing that, we're going equals sum into Excel, open brackets, and then doing that one, so that was the one we just did before. And then we halve it by 2, and then go back. So that's the one of that's half that size of the circle.
We've been doing tour guides to ancient Rome on our laptops. We've been doing PowerPoints. We've been researching on all different topics of ancient Rome. I'm doing German on my laptop, and I'm writing birthdays in German, and it's quite hard.
And then you've got the number, 15, so 15 in German? Up behind you if you can. 5, 10,
I like using my laptop because it's got more resources than a book has.
I have 3 homeworks to do at the moment. I have my French, which is to learn my French colours for a test on Monday. I have my science, which I need to complete some SATs questions for. And I also have my geography, which is to start the research for my presentation about exploring Britain. The things that I've enjoyed doing most at home on my laptop is using Audacity to do podcasts. And I made a history presentation for an audio tour to ancient Rome at the beginning of the year. I enjoyed doing that because it gave me a chance to research places in ancient Rome. This is some of my Roman tour.
Hello, welcome to ancient Rome. I, Octavia Tigler, will be your guide today, taking you to all the must-see places here. To work this audio tour, you will need to know how to pause and stop it.
The advantages of having a laptop at home are that if our main computer is being used, then it gives us one more resource that we can use to do our homework, or if I need to finish off some work for school, then that can be done as well.
Students enjoy the laptop experience. They find that they can choose the way that they answer their questions to suit them, and it gives them a greater variety of experiences across the curriculum. We try and do all our training on site. We found that's far more effective. What we do is we train up a small number of people in their key skills, and then they pass on that training within their own subject areas. Students were asked about what they'd enjoyed most using the laptops, and they'd been enjoying lessons across the curriculum, but one area where they particularly enjoyed lessons was RS, where they'd used SharePoint for discussions and wikis and blogs. Some parents aren't very comfortable using laptops and they haven't got a great deal of experience, so one challenge was, how do we support those parents? We set up an area in school we call Lapland, and parents can ring in both inside of school hours and outside of school hours, and students can turn up and bring in their laptops if they're experiencing problems with software or hardware. At Arnewood, we're particularly concerned about the digital divide. We're aware that some students have no access to technology at home, and the laptop scheme has meant that those students are able to participate fully in the scheme, picking up a laptop from Lapland and taking it to their lessons and getting fully involved, regardless of parental income.
Originally it came from Nigel, because Nigel came from a school in Australia, in Brisbane, which had 2,500 students who were using these laptops. So I thought, wow, this is a tremendous thing to be able to do.
And of course the laptop scheme in Australia is in a very sort of mature format. That's something they've been doing for nearly 15 years or so. So of course that gave us the experience of knowing the stepping stones that we had to put in place so that we could make that successful over here in our own school.
What are the implications for teachers in terms of redesigning their lesson plans?
Well, obviously, if you have a classroom where every child has a laptop, that totally alters the dynamic of a classroom. And it creates great opportunities. It means, for a start, that your lesson doesn't actually have to be an hour long. It means that you can extend activities and children can continue to work on those at home. It allows you opportunities to build in better assessment for learning, because tasks can be marked and the results sent back to children immediately. And all of that has to be planned for. It also means that your classroom can be far more interactive, multimedia based, allowing children to work at their own pace.
I would confirm that this is actually something I did observe during the research. Teachers were very creative about the way they planned their lessons, and I would say that the best practice also evolved through teachers working together, exchanging experiences, and I think far from students being completely just glued to their laptops, they actually take initiative of their own learning. They present their work on the whiteboard, they talk about what they have produced, they can create their own pieces.
Okay, right. Can you tell us one other thing maybe that you try to do to make it appeal to young viewers?
Oh, I don't really know.
Go on, help her out.
It gets really fast and not old people, but older people could get kind of bored with it and just lose interest, whereas young people are kind of like flashy, quick images.
Yeah.
So how does the video research project fit into the scheme of things?
It fits in very well. It complements our wider vision, which is to take forward how the new technologies can enhance adult learning, because if they are taking the laptops home, obviously it's a family resource, so that adults can watch children learning, but also we are looking at using higher education providers, local providers for adult packages, so that they are able to enhance their own use of technology to improve their own learning and a lifelong learning approach.
I think that's a very powerful argument for the laptop scheme, the fact that families can learn together, and the fact that when you're learning alongside your son or daughter, that's actually very encouraging, very embracing. There's very little threat to that.
I think it's a fascinating exercise in a very intensive period of consultation with parents. For some parents it polarised clearly opinion, where some people thought it was always going to be doomed to failure because of the technical problems potentially of children carrying expensive pieces of kit backwards and forwards from school, and none of those have come to fruition. And so we're able to reassure parents just on a basic health and safety, but also for them to tell us about some of the things that they've discovered in the at-home learning and to feed that back so that we can enhance what we're doing in the classroom at school.
Also, I think it encourages the students to talk about the learning at home, to maybe teach their parents, teach their grandparents, and just talk about what they've been doing at school on the laptops, which reinforces what they will have learned at school.
The things that I've enjoyed doing most at home on my laptop is using Audacity to do podcasts, and I made a history presentation for an audio tour to ancient Rome at the beginning of the year. I enjoyed doing that because it gave me a chance to research places in ancient Rome.
We do encourage sensible risk-taking and allow colleagues the space to do that, providing it has an outcome that is very tangible, that can be measured, and that we can hand on heart say, this is going to benefit young people, and in our particular case, families within our catchment. If we're not serious about what we're doing, and this programme making a difference to young people, then we may as well use our energies in another way.
But I think what will really swing it is when we have the students' voice and the students' opinions on our side, the students saying, yes, we enjoy using the laptops, yes. We learn better, and when students develop a real dialogue amongst themselves about their learning, what they enjoy, and I think that would make a big difference, because that would convince anybody who's still got any doubts about the project, whether that is worthwhile.
The students are real advocates for the scheme. And actually what they're saying is we're real advocates for learning at the Arnewood School. And in time what will happen is the laptops will be forgotten. That will just be the tool that they use in every classroom situation, and it will be as natural for them to get out their laptop and produce a podcast as it would have been 5 years ago to reach into their pencil case and draw on a graph on a piece of graph paper.
If we get you sitting down, and then we can turn the camera and put it over here, turn the LCD display around so you can actually see yourself.
Okay.
Okay. You can get the students to ident the footage, get them to wave at camera every time they start a new day, and get them to tell you their name and give you the day they're actually recording on. So, Alex, you can think about what you're going to say before you get there, and get the things you want to talk about near you, so that you can actually bring them into the shot. The other option that Alex can do is move the camera. So you want to talk about your laptop, then you could pick up the camera, that's it. Then you could actually film your laptop. You could be saying, this is the work I'm doing. Put it back to the position where you know you're going to be able to see yourself. There you go. And then you continue.
It makes it clear to me how important it is for the students to be well organised. I think that should help us very much to get suitable footage.
That's great.